show. And welcome to the Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says.
Think someone could spend half their life in a slam with a horse bit in their mouth and not believe? Think he could start out in some liquor store trash bin with an umbilical cord wrapped around his neck and not believe? You got it all wrong, holy man. I absolutely believe in God. And I absolutely hate the fucker.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't believe what that's from. I mean, that's a deep quote, but that's from
What?
Pitch Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you watch it recently?
No, I was just looking for something, odd to quote today.
Yeah.
I kind of it was like one of those movies I just kind of thought of. I saw it on IMDb. It was like on the front page for some reason. I was like, there's a classic. I bet there's a couple of good quotes there.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in a long time.
No. It's like the only whatchamacallit? Vin Diesel role that I really appreciate him in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's Fast and Furious where, it's like the first movie was really good because it was nothing more than a remake of Point Break, but with cars, And I like him as Dom Toretto, but after a while it's just become corny,
Right.
You're only watching those movies to see just how fucking cheesy they can become. And the same with the Triple X franchise, that's just off the rails ridiculous. It's it takes everything that was wrong with the Bond franchise before Daniel Craig and it's pumped it up to 1,000. But then you've got the Riddick series. And I like him as he works as Riddick.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't explain. Especially 1 and 2. Pitch Black is an amazing movie. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
It's a brilliant science fiction movie. And Chronicles of Riddick, the second movie, it's not nearly as good, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
That whole you keep what you kill shit and everything. That's kind of badass,
Yeah.
It's a good movie, and it's the only thing Vin Diesel does, and I appreciate well, you're a shitty actor, but you really make this work.
Right.
So it's a weird thing, I know. So what have you been up to?
Nothing, just working.
Yeah,
the
house is on lockdown.
Yeah, we're probably going to come off here shortly.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We're recording on a Friday night. After we went off the air, you invited me over.
Yeah.
And I was there's excitement in the air. I was okay, we're back in the dining room, back in with the wallpaper,
Yeah.
Back with Rogue,
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah. Thanks, COVID. Uncle COVID came to visit.
Well, I don't get this whole. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they, if they get sick, they, anything, they're out until they get their COVID test. But see, the problem with this COVID test is taking over a week to get back. Usually it takes 3 days.
Yeah.
So they missed school all week.
Right.
And now they're lifting the mask mandates.
Yeah.
So, okay, you have people celebrating lifting the mask mandates. But on the other hand, when you contact trace and kids have masks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
now there's going to be more kids out than there were before. Do you understand what I mean?
This whole COVID thing.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. I mean, I've been fully immersed in it the past week and a half with the Aaron Rodgers saga.
Yeah.
And, man, I mean, I just can't wait for this shit to just go away.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes like just this thing we just live with, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, it's just fucking batshit crazy. And I mean, the funny thing about it is, like, it's so politicized.
It's unbelievably politicized.
It is. Like, it's this whole thing of, like, and I mean, Aaron Rodgers did the whole thing on the Pat McAfee show, and I'm a fan of the Pat McAfee show, so I watched the interview.
Uh-huh.
And it was like this thing of, like, he was saying a lot of things I agreed with. Like, you know, I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, that makes sense. And, you know, he talked about how, like, he had an allergy to one of the ingredients in two of the vaccines, and, you know, with the track record of the Johnson & Johnson one, he wasn't comfortable using that. And, you know, he was like the things he was talking about, like, as far as, like, strengthening his immune system and stuff. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. And, you know, and then he invokes the name Joe Rogan. I'm like, fuck, you lost me. You know, like, I can't support you when you invoke the name Joe Rogan. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was so much stuff he said that made, like, absolute, complete, and total sense. And then he's like, yeah, I've been talking to my friend Joe Rogan. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, but I know we don't get political and we don't discuss shit like that. But I will say this. I think that we're so focused on vaccine and we're not focused on treatment. Now, I'm pro-vaccine.
Right.
I am. This house is pro-vaccine.
Right.
But I'm also pro-treatment.
Right.
And I do not think that we're looking into enough treatment as much as we are looking into vaccine. And I find that that's an issue. We have to learn how to treat as well as protect. And I don't think we're doing the treating part good. Right. Because there are anti-therapies. Now, I know, and I might be biting, you know, whatever the expression is, but Joe Rogan took an anti-parasitic drug.
Right.
So that drug is also comes in human form as well.
Right. Like, everybody's blasting Joe Rogan. They're blasting Aaron Rodgers for invoking the name of this medication.
Vectamycin or Iventa or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, something tells me that, like, that you know, because Terry Pratchett's like, it's a horse dewormer. I'm like, something tells me Aaron Rodgers isn't taking a horse dewormer.
No.
You know?
And so this drug has been approved by the FDA.
Yeah.
The thing is I guess they were doing some studies, and I haven't really looked too hard. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole too far.
Right.
But they're showing studies that people that are taking this medication have there's lower instances of COVID.
Right.
And there are countries, believe it or not, they're on a regimen of this shit because there are parasites.
Right.
And they have to take it, just like you would take a malaria pill.
Right.
And so it's been somewhat, like I said, there's no studies for treatment. That's part of the problem.
Right.
But that it's working for some people.
Right.
And I don't know why, but like I said, no studies on it, but I don't know why it's working so well. Well, from my understanding, from what I've read, is Pfizer is coming out with a pill form of Pfizerectin.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Same drug makeup.
Right.
And so that pill, as you probably know, is going to cost probably $200, $300 or more a pill.
Right.
Right now, the generic form of that drug is $3 a pill.
Right.
Or under.
Right.
There's big pharma coming in.
Right. Yes, I mean they're going to file a patent on something similar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I have, and that's my big issue is I think we're getting caught up in big farm political government bullshit.
Right.
And we're not experimenting and going down those rabbit holes with alternate therapies because people are getting the virus through the vaccine.
Right.
So
no, I agree. Like, I mean, and again, like
I don't get it.
When I listened to Aaron Rodgers, especially the first interview, like so much of what he said was making a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really, like he talked about, like, you know, he's like, I'm not just doing this. He's like, I'm not anti-vaccine. If the vaccine's right for you, then by all means, please get the vaccine. Like, so he's stressing that, like, he's not anti-vaccine. He's just, for my body, this is what I felt was the right thing to do.
Right.
You know, and he's like, I'm exploring homeopathic, you know, ways of strengthening my immune system. And I have 500 pages of documentation that we presented to the NFL to try to show that I'm not, well, I haven't gotten the vaccine. I've been immunized.
Right.
And they wouldn't, and he's like, I knew we were going to lose the appeal when one of their doctors said, well, if you've got the vaccine, you can't get COVID.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah. And this was like August. Yeah. So it was like one of these things where like he's being like, it's like funny because like the left is like just blasting him as like this selfish,
Right.
Person who, like, football's supposed to be a team sport, and why won't you take one for the team? And well, clearly, like, he has thoughts, and their thought, it's not just, it's not like, you're not going to put something in my body. I don't know what it is. And he's done the research. He's done a great deal of research,
Right.
But the right is like championing him without, again, listening to anything he's fucking saying.
Right. Because
he's just they're like, oh, he's anti-vaccine. It's my boy. No, he's not. Listen,
right.
Like, everybody's taking these little sound bites that makes their clickbait work.
Right.
And the reality is, if you listen to the full 40-minute interview, where he says a lot, and if you listen to it, you'll come out of it like thinking to yourself, okay, this makes a lot more sense. But people are like, oh, he's a madman. Well, no, he's not. Listen to the interview.
Right.
Don't just listen to the sound bites, because they're being manipulated to say what you want them to say. You have to listen to the whole thing.
Right. And you're labeling it, and some people are labeling him as a hero, and other people are labeling him as Colin Kaepernick, or however you say his name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, but the people.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Some people champion it.
Yeah.
And other people are saying that's no good.
Right. And it's like amazing, because it's like it should be something you're not forced to do. Like, I was forced to do it.
Yeah.
In order to keep my job, I needed the vaccine.
Right.
So I swallowed my thought process and got the vaccine because, I don't want to go looking for a job,
Yeah.
So, I mean, but that's what I did. But in my heart, like, my problem has always been, like, all three companies got, like, immunity. Like, it's still going through FDA testing right now. We don't know what the long-term effects of this are.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, it always felt to me like that like a scene from Star Trek where they're like, well, okay, we completed that that overhaul. Well, do you think it'll work? It should. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time, so we got to do it anyway. So that's how it's always felt to me.
Yeah.
It's like, and especially with it, knowing enough that it's still undergoing FDA testing, and the long-term effects aren't known. I was hesitant. I was hesitant right up until the time I had to it was like, well, if you want to keep your job, oh, okay, I guess let me roll up my sleeve, so
yeah.
So I don't understand how I just don't understand how it's so politicized. Is the funny, and it's like left and right.
Well, this whole disease has been politicized.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Right.
The scary thing about the disease, for me, not the disease itself, but how we handled everything with the disease.
Yeah.
And how we didn't know shit on our protocols on how to deal with this.
Right.
And the mixed bag of opinions on it from right and left were and still are ridiculous to a point where it's like, I just, what if this was Ebola? This country would be wiped out right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or something crazier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You make it political and it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a political thing, it's a human thing.
Right.
That makes sense?
Right.
And so.
But there are those on the left who are basically saying that you need to get the vaccine because it's a human thing to do.
Right.
And I get that. I agree with that to a certain extent, but at the same time, everybody's body's different.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, they were the ones I was championing for a long time that, these vaccines are killing people. And they did kill some people. They did. I will never say that it didn't. And people reacted to it and it killed them.
Right.
But that number is way lower than 700,000 people dead.
Right. I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, we're not talking about 70 people.
Yeah.
We're talking almost 1 million people.
Right.
Under.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
It's just the problem is it's like.
And they're like, and then you go, but then I'm gonna say this too, and then you get, most of those people were in nursing homes. That's exactly what's wrong with America, and it's elderly.
Yeah.
Point blank. I mean, we've always been told that by other countries too, the way they see it, we just throw our people in homes and forget about them.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what we do. That's not what other countries do.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we're known to treat our elderly bad. And that is just a great example of how bad we do treat them by the response of, most of them are in nursing homes. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of attitude they got.
Right.
When you got on any kind of forum or anything, Facebook, whatever, it was always said, it was always said, and if you listen to talk show hosts, even on the radio, because I listen to a lot of talk radio, they're like, there was 150 deaths today, but 70 of them were in nursing homes.
Yeah.
So it's still a life lost.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who cares if they're 80? Do you think they needed to suffer like that to die?
Yeah.
Alone with nobody?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing. It's just I don't. It just really kind of irks me. That's all.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, life is a life. Just a lot of people dead.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not talking conspiracy theory.
Right. No, I understand.
Throwing numbers out there that are real. So, but like I said, to sum up my point, basically, is I think that we're so focused on vaccine, and I think some people are fooled into believing that the vaccine is a cure, and it is absolutely not a cure.
Right.
It just lessens your symptoms to where what will put you in a hospital. It's not a cure like, polio.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Right.
And I think a lot of people are under that impression, and it's not. I don't know, man. I just think we should be focusing on treatments as well as cures. Because I think the treatments need to help. I mean, the treatments, when we figure out a treatment for the goddamn thing, keep people off ventilators. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We're not going to have this. But they won't focus on treatments. They just want to focus it on the vaccine.
Yeah. Well, I honestly believe, like, if, I mean, and you can attest to this. Like, I'm not blowing smoke or anything. I have an extraordinarily strong immune system.
I know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can attest to this. Like, I feel like if I could have been given a treatment option to strengthen that even further.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the vaccine, I would have been more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like I already feel like I'm a step up because, like, my immune system is really fucking strong,
Right.
So.
But you haven't had this virus in you yet.
Right. No, I understand that. But that's just my thinking. You know what I mean?
But when you do get sick, you get sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I
like
pass out the toilet sick.
Yeah. Right. I've seen you that sick.
Yeah. So, but I mean, but like, and like you will have, you'll admit to this. For something to put me down like that, it would probably, like, take out a horse.
Right.
Like something really, really, really nasty got me for that to happen. Yeah. And I don't get sick like that.
Right.
Ever often.
Right. Now you're saying that though, but is it really worth risking the Russian roulette you played?
No, I understand your point, but my point back to you though is, if you had, like, based upon how strong my immune system is to begin with, if you could offer me a treatment to strengthen that even further.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about the treatment option, something homeopathic outside of the vaccine. I would be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, at the end of the day, that option is not available to me. I got the vaccine anyway.
All right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm just saying, if you would present me with that option, I'd be more likely to take that than I would have the vaccine.
Yeah.
Be that my own hubris or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So,
I don't
know. On to another black guy on Generation X.
Mm.
I watched a documentary last night about Woodstock 99.
Oh, God.
It was tremendous.
Yeah?
It was on HBO, and it was a really fucking good documentary.
Mm.
Like, they talked to a lot of different people, and like, it was a really, really good watch. I highly recommend this. I think it's called Music Box. It's like a series that they're doing of like 6 different documentaries.
Uh-huh.
And the first one was on Woodstock 99. But I mean, I knew that was a clusterfuck. I didn't realize just how monstrous of a clusterfuck that really was.
Oh, yeah.
Like unbelievably awful.
Yeah.
You know,
It was awful.
I mean, I remembered the thing I didn't realize. Like, I thought, like, Saturday night, Limp Bizkit was the last band.
Mm.
Like, I thought they closed it out, and like that's when the place blew up. they were the final 3 acts of Saturday night on that stage were Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica.
Mm.
In that order. Like, Metallica's hitting the stage like midnight or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine the pent up anger by the time Metallica hits the stage?
Oh, and drunk and high
and at that time too, don't forget, Metallica wasn't all that popular because like that was the fall of Napster was around that time. People were kind of pissed at them.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot even imagine. Like, I would have been 25 at the time.
Mm.
1999, I was 25 years old.
Uh-huh.
And like, I think back on like how I felt about things at that time, and I was not that angry. Like, I was angry. I was angry because I knew the system didn't work.
Yeah.
But like, I wasn't that angry. Like, these fucking, like, because I was still like yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna drink beer and have fun. Like, these fucking people were like angry.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, holy fuck. And
Yeah.
it's like this, like, it tackles a lot of different subjects. And one of the things I found interesting that they talked about was the dramatic shift of music in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at music in the 90s, the shift from like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden to Limp Bizkit is like, that's a huge dramatic shift in rock and roll.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it was, and grunge was an angry music, but it was angry with kind of like a point.
Yeah.
New metal at that time was angry without a point for the most part.
Right.
Like, Rage was probably the only band you could say, well, they kind of had a point. Everybody else was just pissed off to be pissed off.
Right.
And it's like amazing, like, think back at that time period, like how pissed off people were. And I'm like thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever been so pissed off at the world that I'm just gonna, like, stick my finger in a woman who's trying to crowd surf.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the shit that was happening.
Yeah. Out of those bands, I think, to tell you the truth, I think Rage would have lit the place on fire. I mean, the shit that was coming out of their mouth. I mean, like, they were so political, and their music was so heavy.
But like, Limp Bizkit lit the match. Like, it was like, that was like, at that point when Limp Bizkit's like doing break shit, that's when they started pulling down like the plywood off of the sound tower, and people were surfing on it. Yeah. And then like Fred Durst is out there like, yeah, bring one of those up here, and he's like out in the crowd on a piece of plywood, singing a song, and like, his handlers are like going fucking batshit crazy. The people in the back are going crazy. You keep telling Durst, like, you need to calm this fucking crowd down. And he's like, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm fucking Fred Durst. I don't have to listen to your shit.
Yeah. Crazy.
It was like fucking nuts. And then the Sunday Night Riot, they said like, you know, the Chili Peppers closed out the show, and you know, like the mayor of Rome, New York, like he goes to Anthony Kiedis like between sets. He's like, I need you to calm the crowd down because they're burning shit out there. Yeah. Just they go out there and they play "Light My Fire" or "Fire" by Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You know. It's an amazing documentary that I highly recommend. Like especially if you're like of our age, if you're a Gen Xer out there, I would encourage you to search this out because it was I don't want to say it was eye opening because like I knew, I mean you knew it was a fucking clusterfuck, but like when you hear about like some of the like the protocols that they had and the shit that was going on, and it's even worse than I even thought. Like I thought, oh my God, I can't imagine being there. I would have left after the first day. I'd have been like, fuck this, I am leaving.
Right.
I don't need this shit.
Yeah, it was just a mess.
Yeah. And what's funny is like they mentioned at the end of it, like 3 months later was the first Coachella.
Yeah.
And it's like completely different vibe altogether for Coachella.
Right.
And I can, problem number one is, it wasn't on an Air Force base. You were just surrounded by fucking concrete. I'm sure that's always helpful, you know. But I mean, it was amazing. Like, I mean, like you think about it, like Coachella's 22 years old now. And it's like, you don't hear about shit at that.
No.
No.
Just chill.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
No, not like Astro World.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
Yeah. So that was the big thing I watched last night. I watched that.
I haven't watched anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Doom Patrol. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff coming up here though. Next week is Discovery comes back.
Yeah.
Then November 24th is the first episode of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And like a couple weeks after that, we finally get season 3 of Lost in Space.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
We need something here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming up here within the next month and a half.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of shit that's dropping here.
It's funny. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I'm surfing and going through Netflix and shit, and it's funny because it almost looks like Netflix is reverting what it used to be before we were getting good shit on there.
Yeah.
Like these terrible movies.
Well, I think they hit this. I think they hit this like wall where like everything they had was still in production. I think COVID probably fucked a lot of things up with some of their bigger shows. I mean, like I can't wait. Like I think The Witcher comes out sometime in December too, end of December. Like there's a bunch of stuff it's dropping here within the next, like I said, especially on Netflix, like within the next month and a half.
Yeah.
There's I guess just like COVID fucked like so much shit up and put production back that they kind of like hit a wall with like their big shows.
Yeah.
The stuff that you've been kind of waiting for.
Yeah. There ain't shit on there, and the one stuff that is on there is terrible.
Yeah.
It ain't terrible. There's some bad shit on there. Especially in science fiction realm.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of badness.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, I haven't turned on, like, I flipped on Netflix. What did I end up watching? They had was a cartoon. Like the whole concept is like, the shadow government is real. And this one company, they're the ones who like put out all like the conspiracy theory stuff.
Okay.
And it was like this entertaining. It was a comedy. It was a little cartoon, but it had Christian Slater was one of the voices. I can't believe I gotta look it up because it was actually like I would highly recommend it. Like it was really good. It's called Inside Job. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, Christian Slater is like the voice of like the main characters. He's like her father. The main character is voiced by the lovely Leslie Kaplan.
Okay.
And like I said, it's like they describe it on there as a cross between Rick and Morty and the X-Files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like this is the description on IMDb. The shadow government and the dysfunctional team whose daily grind is committing the world's conspiracies, from convoluted cover-ups to secret societies to masked orgy etiquette. Navigating office culture at Cognito Inc. can be tricky, especially for the antisocial tech genius Reagan Riley. So, if you're looking for something on, it's like 10 episodes or a half hour each. I thought it was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, well, I like watched that in like a day. Like, 10 episodes. Yeah. Giggling the entire time.
So what else you got, son? What else you got?
Well, get into the old I thought this was interesting because this is something that you and I can kind of reminisce about. I don't know if you're gonna recognize the guy's name, but Nicholas Hammond has been interviewed recently.
Okay.
Nicholas Hammond, for those who don't know, was the very first live-action Spider-Man.
Okay.
In 1977. And what was an absolutely horrible Spider-Man TV show.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like,
it was worse than the Captain America one.
Like, like the suit was so ill-fitting. Like, the Spider-Man on the Electric Company looked better.
He did.
He did. Like, that's not a joke. That's not a lie. That's not an exaggeration. The Spider-Man on the Electric Company looked better than the live action. The Spider-Man in Japan looked better than this.
Yeah. Spider-Man in Century 3 Mall looked better than this.
Yeah. But Nicholas Hammond was, he played Peter Parker back in the day. He looked like he was fucking 30. And but they he said he was disappointed that Marvel didn't ask him to be in No Way Home.
What?
He thought maybe he'd get an invite to be amongst the Spider-Man multiverse.
What is he, 90? He's got to be almost 80.
Let me look him up. You sound offended.
Well, I mean, it just isn't. I mean, that's like the worst movie ever.
right, so he was born in 1950, so he's
71 years old.
71 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he do with his life?
Well, he went on to do a lot of acting stuff. Like, it's funny. Like, you would think in his filmography, the thing he would be most known for would be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But you would be wrong. He actually appeared in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
He was in Crocodile D in Los Angeles.
Oh God.
He was in The Sound of Music. He's done a whole lot of acting in a whole lot of shitty movies.
Mm.
But I mean, he stayed a working actor over all these years. So like, it's like funny. Like the thing you think he'd be most known for, he is not. That has not been his biggest work.
All right. So it wasn't the movie; it was just him. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a movie; it was a TV show.
Yeah.
Don't forget, it's a TV show.
Yeah, I forget.
I mean, he even said Stan Lee hated it. He's like, yeah, Stan was very disappointed because we went with a real feel instead of like the villains, the Spider-Man villains. Which, like, I remember as a kid thinking to myself, why the fuck is he taking on drug dealers and street level crime like this? He should be taking on like the Kingpin and the Green Goblin.
Right now.
Yeah, where are they at? Oh no, we can't afford that shit. We can barely get them to crawl up a wall.
Yeah.
You're expecting that? You want the Vulture? No, son, we can't do that.
It would have looked terrible anyway.
Oh, I know, but it would have been. That would have been at least cheesy enough that I could enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like even as a kid, I thought that show was like just ass.
It was.
It
was horrible.
It was. It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean so he is upset. I wouldn't say he's upset. He was disappointed that he wasn't asked to be in the new Spider-Man movie.
It's crazy town.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that suit showing up? Oh.
That's awful.
That would have been the worst.
The suit and some old man balls.
Like he shows the fuck up and like Tom Holland's like, what the fuck is this?
Looks like onesie pajamas.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been tremendous. So in other news, I didn't see any of this really. But today was Disney Plus Day.
Yeah.
The 2-year anniversary of Disney Plus launching. And apparently they made a bunch of announcements. They released a 20-minute documentary about Boba Fett, which I've yet to watch.
Right.
And then also, I guess, released a short featurette showing some of like the concept art for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. I saw
Did
it.
You watched?
No,
it?
I didn't watch it. I just saw the article.
And the one thing I see like everybody that's making the rounds is apparently like it's a Vader versus Kenobi lightsaber fight, and I'm kind of hoping that's not the case. I am. I'm sorry. Like I hate to sound that way, but like they should have only fought twice. Once on Mustafar and once on the Death Star.
Yeah,
that's it. Like there's no fight in between.
Right.
At least that's my opinion. But
right.
there's concept artwork for it, and I know. I mean, they're talking about Hayden Christensen's back, or But I mean, if you're making a big deal out of Hayden Christensen coming back, like I wouldn't put him in the armor.
Oh, he's not. He's coming back for Ahsoka, right?
No, he's coming back for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
They'll put him in the armor.
But
he has to be in the armor.
But like, I think it would be more interesting myself.
He has to be in the armor at this point.
Right. I know you're right. Like, as Darth Vader, he has to be in the armor. But my own thought was always going to be, well, if they're going to bring back Hayden Christensen, it's got to be because like Kenobi's a little insane. Like just a little. Like you're in the desert by yourself. You're trying to keep an eye on this kid as he's growing up to make sure nothing happens to him because he's our only hope.
Yeah.
And you're alone in the desert and you're thinking about your failure. Your failure with Anakin.
All right.
So he starts talking to Anakin.
Oh, I see.
You see how like Anakin's like, a manifestation, like, because he's just a little nuts. Just nuts enough that like Anakin's like, yeah, you fucked that up pretty good, just like you did with me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what my thinking was. Like, it's like why would you make it like? I guess like the thing is like, why would you make a big deal out of having Hayden Christensen come back if you're just gonna wrap him in that armor and put him in that helmet?
Right.
Because then all he is just David Prowse.
Well, at that point, he's James Earl Jones too. Yeah, I want you know what you mean by David Prowse, but you're not even using him. Right. You understand what I mean? Like you put him in that armor again with the helmet. Yep, I might as well just have James Earl Jones come in and do the voice. Right.
Which I'm sure they will. I'm sure like or somebody who sounds like James Earl Jones will do the voice. But like my thing is just like he's just a person in a suit. And I'm not saying that's like put down David Prowse because I think like what he did from an acting standpoint to bring Vader to life was necessary. But like at this point, like David Prowse has passed. Like anybody who's in that suit is just who was the guy in the suit in Rogue One?
Yeah.
I don't know. That could have been Hayden Christensen for all I care. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like that thing of if you're just putting him in the Vader costume, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So there has to be something more to it than him just being in the Vader costume. There's got to be something where he's interacting like as a manifestation of Kenobi's failure.
Maybe.
That would certainly be interesting, an interesting take on the character.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to do on Tatooine, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Right, and the whole thing is that this has to take him off of Tatooine.
Yeah.
Like, he can't have an adventure on Tatooine.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
There's nothing fucking there,
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has to be something that gets him off of Tatooine for some reason.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to be, but, I'm intrigued to find that out.
Yeah, me too. Because I surely don't want to watch a show that's all on Tatooine.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see
seeing people, Jawas and dewbacks and banthas.
Like, I mean, honestly, like, what am I going to, I don't want to watch like, here you go, Anakin. Here's the hole I shit in.
Or even better, here's a pod race.
You remember those? You were good at those. Yeah, I mean, there's like, I mean, it's gonna be great having Ewan McGregor reprise the role, but like, I can't imagine this is just taking place on Tatooine.
Right.
There were also a number of featurettes. Apparently they released a little something for She-Hulk and Moon Knight and Miss Marvel. Those three are like upcoming as far as like production. I think She-Hulk, and I think also Secret Invasion. I think I heard somebody say that they at least released something for that as well.
Okay.
So those four. They released a Ironheart was something that they'd already announced that they were going to be doing. So they just kind of released like, this is the art for it. They announced they're doing a What If season 2. They're going to do a full-on Marvel Zombies series.
Okay.
Animated. A show called Echo. I'm not quite sure what that is. Apparently it's a series. This will be a series focusing on a character who will be introduced in the upcoming Hawkeye show. And then they announced some new stuff. They're going to be doing a new Spider-Man animated series called Spider-Man Freshman Year. They're going to be doing X-Men 97, which is going to be a continuation of that comic cartoon series.
Right.
I can only hope they've improved the animation and the voice cast.
One can only pray.
Yeah. Stork thought we were insane for putting that show down.
What?
Yeah, he went to bat for that show hard.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to take us to task next week at the Nerd Corner.
Yeah, but I mean, just wasn't that great of a cartoon.
Yeah, we're not going to get on that rabbit hole again.
Yeah. Just not great of a cartoon.
They also announced a series that'll be like a bunch of shorts called I Am Groot.
Okay.
Yeah. And the big one, the one that I saw and I was like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Agatha, House of Harkness.
Yeah. Might be good.
Yeah, I think I have to say I think Catherine Hahn is the new Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people love that character. I think her as an actress, but I think people love the character of Agatha Harkness the way Catherine Hahn portrayed it. That so much that I think she may be the new Loki. Like as far as like for the fans and what they appreciate.
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
mean, let's face facts. Like, she steals the show in WandaVision, just like Loki did in Thor.
Right.
And in the Avengers.
Yeah.
And in Thor 2.
Yeah.
And in Thor 3. Like, Loki steals the show. Like, Catherine Hahn is good enough of an actress to steal the show. So I think they're just going to cut right to the chase and give her her own show.
Right.
Which I like a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am behind this 100%.
Right.
So, I guess with everything that we're kind of talking about here, what is something that you were looking forward to from all of this outside of Kenobi? When you and I discussed, how much we want that, we've talked that to death. So, outside of Kenobi, like, what are you hearing here that like kind of excites you?
I'm kind of looking. I'm interested in the X-Men cartoon.
Yeah.
If they bring it up to date with, how it looks, Yeah. I think they can do the story. I just see how it looks. You know what I mean?
Right. That was our complaint was like the stories were phenomenal, but the animation was just awful, especially when you compare it
Yes.
to Batman the Animated Series.
Well, we got some good animation in What If.
Right. I don't expect it to be quite that level, but that was like some hardcore, like, we need to make people look like, a certain way and everything.
Yeah.
But like I do expect, like, if you ever watched Young Justice on HBO Max, like, give me that level. Give me a decent level of animation.
Yeah. So I am looking forward to that. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle another Spider-Man cartoon.
But what if
I hope they don't go with, like, I guess my thing is I just don't want them to go with that three-dimensional look.
Yeah.
That shit looks terrible. Remember how they did that with Transformers, and they did it with Spider-Man at one point?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That look. It's just stupid. It looks like Tekken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't do Tekken. It's so stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't like that look. I think it's terrible. Things look slow when they're moving. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's just a cartoon. So we'll see.
Like, I'm hoping with Spider-Man freshman year, like, I think it'll be awesome if it's like he's in the shitty homemade spider suit that he made, and it's like what he was doing before he met Tony Stark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Well, I have to wait and see, but
right.
I'm not looking forward to She-Hulk. I always hated her, so I thought it was a stupid concept. I never liked it. This isn't this is not anti-feminine or anything like that. I just never read the comic. I never appreciated the character. I never got into the character. Just like I never really got into, I don't know, a lot of C and B and C level characters in Marvel books.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never went out and bought a She-Hulk comic.
Right.
Just
never read the Eternals.
Huh?
I never read the Eternals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm somewhat intrigued by She-Hulk.
Okay.
Like, I'm not, like, over the moon that they're doing this show or anything like that. I have read some Avengers comic books where she was, with the Avengers, and I thought the character was relatively interesting. But, like, never to the point where, like, I would go out and, like, buy She-Hulk solo stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I like it. Ruffalo's involved with this. He I guess he's, I don't know if, because I thought I saw a picture of him from the featurette where he's still Professor Hulk.
Okay.
So, like, I'm intrigued to see, like, kind of how all that plays out.
Yeah.
Because the thing I always thought was interesting was she had control of it.
Yeah.
Like, before Bruce did, she did.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not a fan. Like, I can't say I've ever read any Moon Knight stuff, but what little I know about Moon Knight, I'm very intrigued by, because Oscar Isaac is playing the main character. Like, the Marvel stuff I read was, like, from the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
I don't think Moon Knight was even around back then. And if he was like a D-level character. I know he's very popular now.
Right.
But back when I was reading Marvel comic books, like, he was an afterthought if he was around at all.
Right.
But I think that show has me very intrigued as far as we all know like Oscar Isaac is just a great actor,
Right.
so it's like it'll be kind of interesting to see what he what he brings to the table there. But I think the one I'm most interested in is Secret Invasion. That's the one that like
right
really has my interest. I'm very keen to see like how that plays out. Like I can't wait till like we're off the phone. I can actually like watch some of this, like because apparently it's all on Disney Plus only.
Right.
I was trying to find this shit on
He came out in 1975.
1975. Yeah, like I said, when we were watching it, he was an afterthought.
Yeah, Mark Spector.
Yeah. Some other stuff that they announced for Disney Plus. They're doing a Baymax show from Big Hero 6.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the puffy Big Hero 6 character is getting his own series from Walt Disney Animation.
I love that movie.
that is one of those movies where like if you were not at the end of that movie like weeping like a baby, you have no soul. and like I went into that. It was better than I thought it was going to be, for one. Like I thought like, whatever, I'm watching it as an afterthought, and by the end of it I'm like, unbelievable. It's a very, very underrated and really fucking good movie.
For sure.
Like better than it should have been.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah. They're doing an Ice Age show. For those of you that are into the Ice Age movies, all 50 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, between Ice Age and The Land Before Time, fucking dinosaurs will live forever.
Right. Truth.
Yeah, they're pushing the Beatles documentary Get Back with by Peter Jackson. That's what he's been doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually saw this. They released a little featurette about the Willow TV series.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was amusing. But I mean, you didn't see anything. Just like they were kind of introduce the cast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like Warwick Davis. He was like, and it's like a bunch of the kids. Like the oldest of them has got to be like 20. And they're all like, yeah, there's a movie. I didn't know it was a movie.
Yeah.
Fucking with them. That's about it. I mean, there's a bunch of other shit like Disenchanted, which I guess is a sequel to the Enchanted movie.
Yeah.
The Spiderwick Chronicles, which is based off of a young adult book series. Something I know that Lisa, Anna, Bree, and Ellie have been anticipating, Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah.
So.
I think the girls read the Spiderwick Chronicles.
Yeah. And under the 20th Century Studios banner, they finally admitted they're making a movie called Prey, which is a Predator sequel set in like the Predators hunting down like the Comanche Nation. 300 years ago.
Oh God.
That could either be really fucking good
Or really
fucking bad. Yeah. It's going to be one of the, and I'm praying it's really fucking good.
Adam Beach will die in the first 5 minutes. Will be the first death.
Yeah.
He'll be the first one to die. One of the most underrated actors in movie cinema is Adam Beach, and like they kill him off in the first 5-10 minutes of every movie he's ever in.
Poor Adam.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal actor. But hope not. He's probably not even in the goddamn thing. But you know what's his name's going to be in it? From Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I mind. It's just there's a lot of Native American actors out there.
Yeah.
And they have like these token Native Americans that they always choose for these roles.
Yeah.
You know, no, seriously.
No, I get what you're saying.
And there's some really good Native American actors out there. Anyway, but you know.
So here's a little bit of a description.
Huh.
The movie is set in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago, and the story follows Naru, the skilled warrior who fiercely protects her tribe against a highly evolved alien predator. So,
like you said, it's going to be really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Is it going to be in English? Or
I kind of hope not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of hope it goes. I can't remember the
Windwalker.
Yeah, Windwalker. No, I hope it kind of goes the direction of that fucking the movie that Mel Gibson made about the Mayans.
Apocalypto.
Yeah, we're like, it was all.
I actually watched that movie.
It's a really good movie.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm endorsing Mel Gibson in any way, shape, or form, but that's a really good movie.
I was fascinated with it.
Yeah.
It's like addicting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird, but it's like you just keep watching it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you just keep on going,
Yeah. Oh, I agree. It's a fantastic movie, but it's like, fuck, it's Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I know. But, if it is like that, I think it'll be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any idea what any of them are saying until there's, Yeah, it could be good. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Kind of plays into their fucking, not there. I don't know. I don't want to presume, but kind of like it seems like it would play into their spirit world and shit like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
you know what I mean?
This, like, I think about the concept. I think this could be really fucking good.
Yeah.
This could be Predators good.
Yeah.
Or it could be Predator 2 bad.
Oh. That was so bad.
Horrible.
It's like Murtaugh just did Predators 2.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it was.
It's all it was. It was like, Riggs had the week off, and Murtaugh got stuck in this horse shit.
Yeah, and he even acted like him.
Yeah.
I mean, like he was the same character.
He was.
It's so weird.
It was. It's so fucking bizarre. And I mean,
it was like Lethal Weapon, and like he just went and did something else, and this is what he did.
And in all honesty, it would have been a better movie if it had been Riggs instead of Murtaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have made more sense.
Right. It was weird. Anyway,
yeah. So that's the excitement of Disney Plus Day.
Yeah, there you go.
All sorts of fun and excitement for the entire family. Let's see here. I do have last week's email from Thad. I do want to give him credit where credit is due.
Okay.
He did attend another haunted house before the end of the season, and this was at 100 Acres Manor in South Park.
Okay.
He does say this year they had you park at the pool area, and they shuttled you to the haunt by wagon, which is pretty cool actually. That would be a nice little wagon ride. Make sure you go around 6. He says I didn't get there early. We were there around that time, and by the time we left, the line for the shuttle could have been a couple of hours long. Holy shit. As far as the haunt goes, this is a top-notch and always one of my favorites. They had 2 new areas this year. One was Shark Jet / Jaws themed. Overturned boats and sharks jumping out at you. The other areas one I had never seen before, it was like an Arctic expedition gone wrong. Frozen bodies in the snow, covered bushes. They even had the abominable snowman jump out at you. It was very cool and very well done. It would have been cooler if they had done it like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would have gone for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
The haunt lasted 33 minutes and it was well worth it. This is it for the haunted house review for 2021. Maybe I'll get to view some of the special events that may pop up around Christmas time or the other holidays.
There you go.
Yeah. I know there's that one out in Ohio he went to that one year, like for Christmas, and then again for like St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
Or some shit. Yeah. Like there was like one in Ohio he went to a couple of times where they changed it up based upon the holiday.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I got.
All right, sir.
All right. Well, first off, before we go through everything, we do want to remind you that next week we will be at the Nerd Corner in White Oak, on Lincoln Highway. Just give them a Google search, you'll find the address, and they're very, very easy to find. Yeah. But we'll be there recording. We hope you'll come out. We'd love to see you. I will tell you now, it's my birthday weekend, so presents. Gonna show up. If you're gonna show up, buy something at the Nerd Corner and give it to me for my birthday.
There you go.
There we.
There's a lot of things there.
There's a lot of shit there. I'd love to have. No. But we'd love to have you come out. Love to see you. It's always a good time. I mean, last month we got to see Thad. I didn't stick around. We got to see my cousin Joe, even though I didn't fucking recognize him like a dickhead. And the month before, Tim and Stork and their wives and Thad was there and Hummingbird. Like it was a hoodoo. Yeah. So we're hoping you come out, say hello. Would love to see you. And again, that's next Saturday. I'll be there around 4:30. We'll be recording between 5 and 5:30. Whenever Ian decides to sashay on in.
That's right.
You're gonna make an entrance next week. You're music, fireworks. You're gonna be like fucking Ric Flair walking through the door.
Cape.
Yeah.
Smoking jacket. Playboy bunny on my arm.
Woo!
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've been watching on the Peacock. They have World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, from it was on TBS Saturdays at 6:05. They have that on the Peacock now.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching old episodes, and it is tremendous.
Yeah, you liking it?
Oh, because like the wrestling is awful. Like because they're all it's all like and here's Billy Jack Haynes against some stiff.
Right.
Billy Jack Haynes beats the shit out of him like 5 minutes and he's done. But like the thing I forgot, like I remember Tony Schiavone, and like he's on AEW now, so it's like and he was with the even like in the WCW during like the NWO days and shit like that. But he was a part of this, and the co-host was a guy named David Crockett, who was the brother of Jim Crockett Jr., who owned the promotion. And he is like the most fanboy announcer I have ever heard. Like Billy Jack Haynes comes out, and Billy Jack Haynes, for those who don't know, he was he was from Oregon. He was like this big, muscular, like just built wrestler. Like,
yeah,
you think he would have been in the WWF because of the way he looked. And Billy Jack Haynes comes out, and David Crockett is like, "Look at this man. Look at those muscles. That's a man." I'm just thinking to myself, is David Crockett hitting on Billy Jack Haynes right now? And like he'll come out like, and he'll like badmouth like Ric Flair. Like they had just come out, like one of the ones I was watching, like Starrcade was like their big like WrestleMania. It was like Starrcade '85, The Gathering. Yeah. And the main event was Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes for the NWA World Title. And at the end of it, there was shenanigans, and Flair ended up keeping the title. And David Crockett is like telling Ric Flair, he's like, you got that belt on a technicality. And Ric Flair is like, let me tell you something, David Crockett. You shut your mouth and you write the checks. Like,
nice.
It's like the best shit in the world. I'm like, no wonder I was addicted to this when I was a kid. This shit's like crack.
Right.
Ah. So every once in a while, I'll watch a couple of those like at night before I go to bed. I'm just like, the best in the world.
Best in the world.
Yeah. So, remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. Woo! And you can send us an email like Thad does every week that we really don't read it. And an email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find. We are on a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search, and you can find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. Yeah. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. I can't thank you enough for that, and we appreciate your support. It means the world to us.
It does.
So on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.